Hey YouTube, this video isn't so much a response to, but was inspired by a video by Deland and Cole. It's a friend of mine, links below. He's a very good YouTuber, just hit 4,000 subs. Go sub to him if you're not already. Brilliant political mind. I don't always agree with him, but brilliant political mind, brilliant chap all round, very well made videos. Thoroughly recommend him. This video is on the second half of his video, which touched on a recent Pat Condell video on halal slaughter, and what really got me was the way Pat Condell was talking about being fed halal food without knowing about it. And it just reminded me very much of what you'll often hear from people in the opinion of Zionist conspiracies or Jews in control, is of the secret kosher tax. It just sounded a similar line, that they're doing this without us knowing it. The conspiracy, the idea that it was some secret infiltration to make us all like them, the idea that this was some plot, is inherent in the idea that you're secretly being controlled to have a certain product, when in fact it's just simple economics. The kosher tax is more than made up in the revenue that businesses get from being kosher certified, because suddenly all the Hasidic Jews can buy it, all the really orthodox ones can buy their products, and they make more money. If they didn't make more money, they wouldn't do it. It's simple as that. So that's the same with halal meat. I mean, the halal meat coming out of New Zealand exports to a lot of Muslim countries and has a minor Muslim minority in New Zealand as well that buy the lamb, and so all their lamb is done to be halal. You do it in bulk, you get low costs for whatever certification you need. I honestly am not aware if they have something like the rabbinate does. I know Islam has a problem with they don't have a cohesive head, as I understand it. They have no structure like Roman Catholics do, and they're still forming one like the Council of Rabbis in the UK. It's often the case that Muslims will actually buy kosher foods as well. I know several Muslims that buy kosher meat and then bless it themselves with a prayer, and they consider that halal, that within their rules is perfectly halal. And yeah, if you want to ban halal meat, you'd have to ban kosher meat. But if you're banning this sort of meat, you probably want a reason other than just because it's this religious thing. And if you're going down the animal welfare route in terms of how it's slaughtered, you really should then start taking all the game off the shelves of Waitrose and supermarkets elsewhere across the country, and all the game out of butchers, and well, then you really need to start controlling the abattoirs a lot better. You'll need to make sure there's not a black market in these halal meats coming in from Europe, and then you'll really get onto Europe, because our animal welfare standards are miles ahead of Europe in terms of what we allow for our animals. And I don't think, I'm not sure about enforcing it by law, but there are several farming practices that I won't buy the products of. So once you start going down there, you still have to start questioning things. And on the whole, I think it's quite plain that this opposition to halal meat is purely religious bigotry almost. I hesitate to attribute that to everyone, but not necessarily bigotry, but fear of the unknown, I think, is a large part, and the natural xenophobia that everyone really has inherent in them, simply as part of being human. I know that's a bit of a terrible thing to think about most of humanity, but I think most of humanity is fairly xenophobic. I'll actually do another video, also inspired by Deland and Cole's, which I'll upload in a bit, about multiculturalism. But back to the halal meat and what this is a part of. I've been watching the news lately, and this thought has crossed my mind an awful lot, that what is going on reminds me an awful lot of what was being said about Jews in the early 20th century, in the 30s or so. I mean, just after World War II, there was anti-Semitism was rife. Just after World War One, I apologise. Just after World War One in France, anti-Semitism was rife, and people were convicted completely wrongly of crimes they didn't commit, and it was obviously because they were a Jewish scapegoat for this. And I can't help but feel with the wrongful imprisonments, convictions and trials without arrest, the detainments against people because they're Muslim, and I understand that there are security risks. I mean, are people out there who want to do horrible things, but it seems to me there's so much misplaced anger that we're losing the fundamental freedoms, and if we lose those, you might as well have lost anyway. And I've really diverted from the first track of this, but it's kind of been something that's on my mind that I've wanted to get off, that I honestly think that a lot of the... I hesitate to use the words Islamophobia, but the mistrust, which goes into forming part of the ghettoisation problem, which is another topic and video in and of itself. It just is ringing eerie bells from me, from the stories I've been told by people who lived through then, or whose parents lived through then. Yeah, I don't like it, and yeah, I'm sorry this has turned into a rambly video, so I'll cut it off there. Thanks very much, YouTube. Bye.